Hello, boys and girls. You are now listening to the New Daye podcast. This is episode 7. Even though we have several conversations under our belt, but in terms of the new tag team champions, New Daye podcast, this is episode number 7. All right, how you doing, Nathan?
I'm doing good. Just got off work not too long ago, and I am excited to talk about both SummerSlam and TakeOver because I didn't get to talk about them last night because Eyes on the Ring did not happen.
Well, I imagine because nobody was in a good mood.
No, it wasn't that. It was because Blog Talk Radio was being an asshole.
Oh,
because we do our podcast through Blog Talk Radio, and it was down last night. And I was up until 2 in the morning with somebody trying to figure it out, and we never got it resolved, so we didn't get to talk about anything.
Well, that sucks. Now you get the express yourself. Well, I'm just getting off work myself, maybe like 50 minutes ago. Man, my ass is being handed to me. We got the National Folk Festival coming to Greensboro, North Carolina, and my job got commissioned to do the shirts. So over the next, I would say the next week and a half, starting Friday and then today into next week, we got to do 3,000 shirts. And we just
holy crap!
Yeah, we just finished 1,000 over the past 2 days, and it's just me and one other person. I'm like first hand. First mate, and then he's doing the I'm helping him and stuff, but I'm doing a lot of the footwork, and I'm just running all over the place. So from 10 o'clock all the way to say 4 o'clock, I've just been moving non-fucking stop. So I'm I'm definitely a little beat. So we're gonna get through this. All right. Okay. Do you want to talk about TakeOver, or you want to talk about SummerSlam, which I like to call Bummer Slam?
I would rather, are you saying which one do I want to talk about over the other?
No, first.
We might as well just do them in order and talk about TakeOver and then do SummerSlam, even though I really don't want to talk about SummerSlam, but
Bummer
we
Slam?
kind of have to. So
we don't have to talk much. I mean,
we can, but it depends how long you want to really make this thing.
Okay, I guess the conversation would be based around what the fuck were they thinking? All right,
yeah,
that would be the premise, right?
So you're on the same page that I am then, because last night I watched the show and I sent out a tweet, I live tweeted the show both on the Eyes on the Ring account and my personal account, and then after the show I was like, well, SummerSlam was a show that had some really good or some good wrestling with some terrible finishes.
All right.
And that's basically what it was. So yeah, we can talk about it.
Okay. So NXT TakeOver, on a scale to 1 to 10, what do you give it?
I'd say between a 7 or an 8. It was a really good show. I actually did a 10-page review of the show for EyesOnTheRing.com, which just got posted today. After I accidentally sent them the wrong review, and then I had to resend it, but it is fixed. So you can go to EyesOnTheRing.com and read the review. But I thought it was a really good show. Like I said, 7 or an 8. I wouldn't necessarily say it's the best TakeOver, but it's definitely up there.
I give it a 9. I think the only thing that really hurt the show, well, I didn't like the way that the Samoa Joe, Baron Corbin, I didn't like that match, nor did I like the way it ended.
I knew how that match was going to go down as soon as I found out that it was going to be part of the card.
I'm not, but check this out. And also, I'm not a fan of the Vaudevillains winning the championship.
I am in a sense, but in another sense, it was way too long overdue. They should have won the titles about a 6 months to a year ago, and it's one of those things that now that they won it, it's kind of like primetime players on the main roster, even though they just lost them to the New Day. It's like when the primetime players won the titles, I was happy for them, but
I wasn't.
I didn't care because it was so long overdue. And there's a point of like building to a tag title or a title win where it's the right timing versus you should have done this like a long time ago, and that's kind of the sense that I got with it.
Yeah, I just wish everything else I thought was pretty good. The Vaudevillains was overbooked. I think they had too much, riffraff going on with Blue Pants and Alexa, because it wasn't even about them so much in the ring. Because I didn't even know that Blake
in that match
Murphy was even in the match. I mean, like, it was like the most whatever match by them that you can possibly,
Well, and the way they went about it too is they because I knew that it was a tag match, but the way they kind of opened it up and with how everything went down, it kind of made it feel like it was going to be a 6-man or a 6-person mixed tag match.
Yeah. But it was for the belt.
You kind of got the same.
Yeah, but it was
thought the same thing that I did.
Almost to a degree, but I was like, well, this is for the belt, so there's no way that it would actually turn into like an intergender match.
Well, they could have done that, but it would have been weird because they have done that before.
Well, a championship match turning into like a non-championship match.
Well, no, it would still be a championship match. It would have just had Alexa and Blue Pants in the match. I would
have just tuned out. And the other thing that I was disappointed was Apollo Cruz's, aka Uha Nation. I thought his debut was lackluster. He held back, and I don't know whether it was something that he got from the higher aboves, but like that was a Ty Dillinger show. I think it was more of a showcase for him than it was Uha, and plus they want to rethink that finisher.
You mean the slam into the moonsault or whatever it was?
The gorilla press into the moonsault.
Yeah. When I did my review yesterday, because I did it before SummerSlam, and I basically talked about like how when you have a guy who debuts, it's pretty much where the guy, whoever is debuting, gets to show everyone what they can do offensively, and they're usually offensive exhibitions.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't get that from this match at all. I thought Ty Dillinger, I understand they're trying to rebrand him and do what they can with him, but it kind of sucks that this had to happen because I understand they're trying to get Ty Dillinger over with his new gimmick, but at the same time, you're debuting a new guy, and he shouldn't have basically done it. He should have just rolled him over and beat the crap out of him in Uha Nation. Basically, it should have been an offensive exhibition.
Yeah, of course. Like, why couldn't they just find some other jabroni and just throw him in the ring, make it a 5-minute exhibition?
Well,
like we
CJ
really
Parker used to be that guy, but now that's not an option anymore.
Well, they got what you call it, the hacker guy, whatever the fuck. He wasn't even on the show at all.
Solomon Crow.
Yeah, but
they're not going to do that with him though.
Yeah, put that jabroni in there, or get like Marcus Louis. I mean, he'll do the job. Like, and actually make Uha look awesome. They could have or even the last dude that Samoa Joe fought. Not was it Samoa Joe? No, the last. No. I'm getting confused. I apologize. I'm a little tired. But before he faced Rhino, I think it was after the Rhino match. He just faced some jabroni, put him out of his misery. But I'm just saying, they got enough guys in developmental that could just take a beating, right? And they could have just done that. And plus that gorilla press and to the moonsault. Man, I've seen motherfuckers like kick out of fucking brain busters and fucking power bombs off the fucking top buckle, you know? Like, you mean to tell me a gorilla press into a fucking flip is going to finish someone? Like, no, they need to rethink that. I think the people, you know who I remind me of? It's like Kaepernick. I don't know. You don't watch football, do you?
Colin Kaepernick?
Yeah.
I do watch football, but I don't follow it enough to be able to do like fantasy football or anything like that.
Yeah, well, check this out. I don't do fantasy, though. But I make the comparison where it's like, I don't think the people in down there that in developmental, they have a specimen that they've never seen the likes of athletically. You know, they look at him, they're like, what the fuck are we gonna do with this? Like, what can we, like, we don't even know what to fucking do with this. Like, very much like Colin Kaepernick. Now, you take a guy who's just like, he's just one of the most athletic specimens that the NFL has ever seen. You know, running, throwing the ball, just strength, you know, high IQ, and they just didn't know what to do with him. And it resulted in, you know, losing the Super Bowl or not making it, you know, or getting put out of the playoffs because this guy wasn't really able to showcase what he really could do, because last season he had a lackluster season because he was poorly utilized. And the same here with Uha Nation. I just hope he doesn't fall into that trap where he's just so poorly utilized that the entire experiment to bring him to the WWE is just a complete failure. Because it's not the first time they've done this, you know? Just take a person with just God-gifted ability and to the likes that they've never seen and then just ruin it. They're doing it. They're doing it right now with Neville, you know, once you think about it. Like, they really are. And like with Uha or Apollo Crews, I still not used to that name. But, and I don't mean to make it sound like this, but if they don't push Apollo Crews, it's going to be a factor of his skin color. Oh yeah. That, you know, again, we've seen this before. We've seen this several times, and I wouldn't be surprised if he runs into a situation in the back, you know, like a Alberto Del Rio type of situation. Or like, who was the other dude that he asked to leave because of P.S. Hayes? Big black dude. They had him going up against, God, what the fuck was his name?
I don't know what you're talking about.
He was a big black dude during the ruthless aggression period. And he was just a force to be reckoned with. I think why can't I think of his name right now?
Ezekiel Jackson?
Before Ezekiel Jackson.
I'm not sure.
Oh, it's gonna hit me.
Ruthless aggression era. I can't.
It's right on the tip of my tongue. Jesus Christ! I think he had a feud with Shawn Michaels. It'll hit me in a minute. But anyway, regardless, sorry about that, people. Brain fart. Again, I'm tired. It was
you and me both.
Yeah, it's a situation where, you know, Michael P.S. Hayes said some dumb shit to him and almost kicked his ass, but he just asked to be released to prevent, you know, said murder. And I just feel, you know, the heat that he's going to get just because he's just a gifted specimen, and his skin color, I think could be a problem. I'm not saying that it's going to be that, but if something goes down, I'm not going to be surprised, you know?
Neither will I, because we've heard of the hazing and stuff that goes on backstage, and with somebody's skin color, it goes to a whole new level, and I don't know if it's going to really... I think he's going to do great, but I'm wondering with the glass ceiling that WWE has on black performers, I wonder how high he really is going to get. Because if it was me, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that thinks this, and you might agree with me, if it was me and I was running WWE, I'd take one look at this guy and say, okay, this guy needs to be a future WWE World Heavyweight Champion.
But he's short. That's the only problem.
That's the problem, but I don't think...
That's another problem. That's another problem.
Yeah, but, how tall is he? Or how short is he?
I think he's only like 5'7", 5'8".
See, because to me, he doesn't look that short.
Yeah, he is. He's actually... Let me see something real quick. I'm gonna look up his specs real quick. First, I'm gonna look at I just typed in former black wrestlers to see if I could come up with that name. Fuck. Come on. Fucking. All right. Boom. Oh man, I hate the slideshow. No, I can't do a slideshow. I just
on Bleacher Report.
Yeah, it's such a ass. Well, anyway, how about this? What were we just talking about? This is a post-production omission. The wrestler I'm thinking about is Ahmed Johnson. Now back to New Day podcast. Oh yeah,
we're talking about
Uhaa Nation's height.
Uhaa Nation and his potential within WWE, given that he's an African American superstar.
Okay, but let's move on from that. He's 6'1". I thought he was shorter.
I was like, there's no way that guy's like.
Oh my god, I thought he was much shorter.
To be at least 6. Yeah. I was gonna say 5'8", 5'7". There's no way that.
Oh, this motherfucker Moose.
5'7", 5'8".
He's like Moose in this motherfucker. Not a big dude, but anyway.
Well, and he's better than Moose.
Oh yeah. But Moose is improving.
When Moose first came on the scene in ROH, I'm like, okay, this guy is a poor man's Uhaa Nation.
Yeah, but he's getting better.
Especially after that god awful promo that he cut at Best in the World.
Well, he didn't even cut the promo. He just
he said like 2 words and they were awful.
But it was all the redhead chick and
Veda Scott.
Yeah, it was all mostly her doing all the talking. But check this out, right? What else is on the card that you want to talk about? Okay, before we talk about the main event, Sasha Banks versus
Bayley
versus Bayley. Okay, one for the books. It didn't disappoint. Amazing match. I'm completely impressed with, and I think I've seen. I think I saw it more in this match than I ever seen any other Becky Lynch. Not Becky Lynch, but Sasha Banks match that I've ever seen. Is that her wrestling IQ is high as fuck. Like her wrestling IQ is almost as if she's been studying for quite some time, and her performance was just like I couldn't focus on her athletic ability as much and her performance in the ring as much as how she was in the ring, and it just threw me for a fucking loop. One of the things that stood out was that moment when she put her in the bank statement, and she put Bayley in the bank statement, and she goes to stomp her hand to prevent her from getting to the ropes, but it wasn't like her regular hand. It was the hand that was already damaged.
It cast.
So I'm just like, what? Like, it's okay. Maybe I'm making a big deal out of it, but it's always the little things that stand out to me.
The same here.
Yeah.
I thought when I saw that spot, I was like, wow, that is really, really good. And because most people, like, given where Sasha Banks is, I mean, she's only been in WWE and the business it hasn't been that long. Let's face it.
A year and a half, maybe.
Yeah, year and a half, 2 years. It's like she does things that 10-year veterans wouldn't even think to do in wrestling matches.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like she's so far ahead of the curve that she could go down as one of the best women's wrestlers of her time. In my opinion, she's already miles ahead of Charlotte Flair. I think out of Charlotte Flair and her, if you compare those two, I think Sasha Banks is going to overshadow Charlotte Flair once both their careers are said and done.
That'd be a stretch. I think the only thing that Charlotte Flair has over Sasha Banks is her DNA, her lineage. I mean, it's in her blood. Wrestling's in her blood, so I think she's going to adapt maybe a little faster than the average person. And that's the whole thing about this entire like Four Horsemen girls. You know what I'm saying? Like between Bayley, Banks, Lynch, and Flair, is that it could be, their ability could be actually be a detriment to the Divas division, because the bar is set so high, and the athletic ability and the ring presence and the IQ is so high. They're so, what's the word? What you said, like ahead of the curve. That people after them are going to have to reach that bar, or if not exceed it.
But that's not the people that are there right now. That's not their problem, and they shouldn't have to worry about that. It's the people that are coming, the women that'll come up in say 10, 15 years after them, that are going to have to play catch up. Like even the ones in NXT. I mean, you take Bayley, Becky Lynch, Sasha, and Charlotte off of NXT in the women's division, and look where the women's division is right now. Bayley's the only one there doing work.
Yeah, that's why they gave her the rub. I mean, she's gonna have to. She's gonna have.
I remember hearing that they wanted to call her up with those women, but they're like, we're going to leave her down there because they need somebody that they can build that division around. And because without her, there's nothing there. And
I also I'm worried about the Bayley gimmick actually. What's the word? Transitioning to the main roster, if it would be, because that's one of the things about Full Sail, right? Full Sail, I think in itself is not the best gauge for gimmicks, right? Because you're
that's because it's in Smarkland.
Yeah, and it fools who's ever in control of moving people back and forth, or if you're bringing someone up, bringing someone down. Prime example is, Adam Rose and that fucking hippie raver gimmick, and how Full Sail put it over like it was the invention of fire. And then,
well, to comment on that, what really put it over the top for me was the song that he came out to.
Mm-hmm.
And once they lost, because the song that he came out to originally was called "World Goes Wild." I can't remember who sings it, but WWE didn't get the license to that song,
mm-hmm.
and the person who wrote it threatened to sue them.
Jerk.
So they had to change it to some knockoff version, which instantly killed the gimmick. Had they actually done the right steps and got the licensing to that song, had he been able to use that song as his theme song, I think the gimmick would have been a lot better.
So you're saying it got fandangoed?
In a way, yes. But even like the partying aspect in Full Sail, and I remember hearing people talk about this on Four Corners Radio back when Adam Rose first changed over to Leo Kruger. Full Sail, the party gimmick works out great because it's a smaller venue and you only need like maybe 10 or 20 people to make it look big. But if you're in like NXT Brooklyn, like that arena, or the Barclays Center for SummerSlam, or anywhere else like that's a full-scale sized arena for WWE Raw or whatever, you're going to need like 50 people. And you're going to have to start paying extras to be a Rosebud, because it's going to have to look like a real-life party, and 10 to 20 people coming to the ring with Adam Rose didn't really cut it.
But I'm just saying in general, the gimmick went well at Full Sail because they're just, if it's ridiculous, they'll just go for it. And you can over-gimmick, And once you come to the main roster and you're over-gimmicked, I mean, unless there's something about you that people just gravitate to you anyway even though your gimmick is just a little too much, you take let's just say, for example, Axelmania. I mean, or even Sandow, Mizdow. We already were a fan of his, and we just wanted to see him succeed. So if they're going to throw him a dumb gimmick, we're just going to gravitate towards that. Cesaro the same way. But Adam Rose, we didn't know him. So he had to come up to the main roster with some overly just over gimmick.
Well, we knew him as Leo Kruger.
Yeah, but we knew him as Leo Kruger. They know him as Adam Rose. And it was just too much. And I guess in reference to what I was saying, Bayley, I hope that Bayley character could actually, when she does get the call, when NXT is comfortable enough with the development of the women that they have to where they could carry the show forward and bring Bayley to the top, to the main roster, I only hope that motherfuckers aren't like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, this is too much. And it backfires or something.
I think Bayley's going to be just fine on the main roster. I think she's a good enough role model, and she will actually give women, or like female fans, little girls that watch wrestling, something to look up to. And it's going to be a real difference between the slut or the skank or the dumb idiot who can't get anything. Because in WWE, there's 3 different types of divas. You're either stupid, you're crazy, or you're a slut.
But this has the potential to get Cena, though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I could see it backfiring. Like, what the fuck? This is too goody-goody. And it is for the kids, which
I don't believe so at all.
All right. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm worried that it could happen.
I understand the Cena comparison, but in a sense, it's totally different because, the character is semi-similar, but to me, she's more of like a female Eugene than anything else.
Ooh,
and I think, not like saying that she's retarded or anything.
No, I'm not saying that either. I'm just saying, like, that's a stretch.
That's just what it reminds me of, but I think she's going to do just fine on the main roster.
How about this?
They may have to tweak her gimmick a little bit.
How about this? The finish, actually, the way they arrived, just seeing it on a larger scale, like under, say in Barclays Center, it's a bigger venue, more people losing their minds. Bayley, when she came out, I was like, wow, that I was happy for her. And then when Sasha Banks came out, that entrance was something. I was like, God damn, that's actually pretty fucking cool. And moving forward, let's just say when they break off from the factions on the main roster and they finally go with they start taking each one of those divas from developmental and start giving them their own personal push, that they don't forget.
They'll never do that.
I hope they don't forget that that's a fucking solid entrance for her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that was impressive. And she played the role like a motherfucker. Other than the fact that the one dude that picked her up, say, on the right side, copped a nice little feel of that booty.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, yeah. He almost seen him crack a smile, too. Like, yeah, dog.
She didn't care, though. She was just like, whatever.
I know, but still, I would have paid to been one of them guys, that guy. That just for that moment. I said,
pervert.
You ain't got to pay me. Perv? Motherfucker, I'm straight. I like ass. And I didn't like the end as much as I should have. It was 2 things. I understand it was kind of a curtain call, but I wish that Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair, all on, I guess Becky Lynch and Flair are on the same faction, but Becky Lynch isn't. She just lost the belt. I wish she would have stayed in character and been.
You mean Sasha?
Sasha, sorry, and would have been more of a brat, more of an asshole, been more like Kevin Owens, to emphasize that she isn't a face, because she isn't.
But like you see it with heels in NXT all the time. As soon as because that to me was the curtain call, in a sense, because it was 4 people saying goodbye to each other
Yeah.
at the NXT or in an NXT arena. They'll never be there again under the same circumstances, kind of like in 1995 at Madison Square Garden.
Yes.
And it's the same in the sense, so I don't think her crying or breaking character was all that big of a deal. But one of the issues that I have in calling this a curtain call, yes, it was, but it's not the same thing because in 1995...
They were leaving the company.
They were leaving the company to go to another company that was going to pay them more money. This is totally different, where you've got people leaving a developmental territory to step up to the main roster.
Basically, people got raises.
Yeah,
like,
that's exactly what it was.
People got raises, and someone has a raise coming soon. And I don't see it as a big deal. I just go, it's what I said earlier. It's the little things. If you want me to invest in you and your character, you got to give me something to invest in. And if I want her to be a boss, if I want her to be these things, you could do this shit off camera all day. And that's fine. I don't have to see it. If I'm supposed to suspend my disbelief to your character, you got to give me something to suspend. And that's all. And that's all, man. I mean, if anyone listening thinking I'm like bitching about it, I'm not. I'm just.
Well, you are.
Fuck you. I'm putting it out there. I'm just putting it out there.
I had to get that one in there.
Well, you know what? I've been pretty tame today.
Yeah.
I've been tame. Okay, so don't get me started there, jabroni. So check it out. Anything else you wanted to talk about this before we go to the main event of NXT?
One thing I wanted to mention was the opening match.
What happened?
Because it was...
Oh, Jushin!
Yeah, the one thing I was really looking forward to on this show, and I thought it was fantastic. Tyler Breeze showed why he is such a great heel, and he's a great character, and he's really came into his own as a good wrestler. And the entrance that he had was awesome. I really liked Jushin Thunder Liger, his entrance. I wish they could have actually used his theme song, but that's a different story for a different day. At least they were able to get a cheap knockoff version of it. But I thought the match was really well done. The only thing that I have an issue with is I question
I know it's
having
coming.
Jushin Thunder Liger go over.
Yes, and I'm not going to say I told you so. I'm not going to say I told you so, by the way.
Yeah, because Jushin Thunder Liger, he is 50. He is a legend. I understand them wanting to give him the rub. That's fine with me, but it's kind of like last year, or WrestleMania this past year, or, well, earlier this year.
Talk about Bray Wyatt?
Yeah, Bray Wyatt and The Undertaker. The Undertaker won that match, but Bray Wyatt needed it more. It's like Jushin Thunder Liger won this match, which was great, but at the end of the day, Jushin Thunder Liger is going back to Japan. Tyler Breeze is still in NXT, so ultimately this match with Liger, yes, it was a great match, and yes, people are going to look upon it and say, wow, that was a great match, but they're going to say, in the end of the day, Tyler Breeze lost.
Yes, but, oh, dude, stop. Did Daniel Bryan defeat Jushin? I don't think he did, bro.
In Ring of Honor?
I think so. He faced him in Japan.
They faced in Noah and they faced in Ring of Honor.
Okay.
But I can't remember.
We'll look it up next time. We'll look it up and find it next time. My whole thing is this, and this is what I'm saying, man. It's still developmental. This isn't even going to go into quote unquote the record books for him. This is all him learning, and he was given probably the greatest opportunity that any NXT worker has ever gotten. I mean, yes. I bet motherfuckers were mad that they weren't put in the same position that Tyler Breeze, because once you think about it, the way he's been booked, the way that he's been like kind of like the outside looking in, looking at Sami Zayn, looking at Finn Balor, looking at Neville, and looking at all those guys, and him just kind of being left out to a certain extent.
Yeah,
I would consider this match with Jushin as kind of an apology for how he's been booked. And
I almost would consider it a thank you in a way.
Yeah, well, that and like,
and I'll tell you why when you're done with your thought.
And throwing him a bone, right? Like, you know what? This is something that no one else on this roster could even ever say, that they had the opportunity to take part in, this. And him losing is just another notch on the belt. Like, dude, okay, I lost to Jushin Thunder Liger, but I lost to fucking Jushin Thunder Liger, and him being so young, he's going to have way more opportunity to face non-legends, because Jushin's a legend. I mean, like, pump your brakes a little bit. You can't give this noob a fucking victory over the likes of Jushin Thunder Liger.
He's not really a noob, but I understand where you're coming from in a sense.
Lowercase noob, all right? And it just wouldn't sit well. It would not sit well. Maybe he uses this in storyline as a means to get better. Like, I faced Jushin Thunder Liger, now I could take on the likes of, I don't know, I could take on Adam Rose, I could take on Curtis Axel, I could take on these guys who are above me and build up from there to where he actually can get into a situation where if he's facing someone who's like just another caliber above him, if he does get the rub, it's because he actually got his way up there. But to give him a victory over like basically a Hall of Famer like that, it's too much too soon. It would have been too much too soon.
I tend to disagree with that because, like I said, Jushin Thunder Liger didn't really need the win because he's not going to be in NXT or WWE going forward. So it kind of, in a sense, hurts Tyler Breeze. I think he's going to be okay, but ultimately I think this match was to thank Tyler Breeze for being in NXT and FCW, because you have to remember that he was Mike Dalton before Tyler Breeze was ever a thing in FCW. He was a terrible character, a terrible wrestler, had no gimmick, and they finally figured it out with the Tyler Breeze character, and I think this match was basically telling Mike Dalton, thank you for everything, because you finally figured it out, and this is your reward. And I think if this isn't a way, like, if it was me, like, after that match, this is the time that you call him up to the main roster.
Well, he's been doing house shows.
Because he is ready.
He's been doing house shows.
But, like, now he is, like, put him on Raw right now. He is ready.
I just hope, his gimmick is too jobber-esque for me on the main roster.
I disagree, because in the 80s you had guys like Rick Martel. You had Shawn Michaels, who this is pretty much the same thing.
It is the same thing. But
in a sense. And look, you know who Shawn Michaels is, right? He's the greatest
I think I heard of him.
in-ring performer of all time. Not saying that Tyler Breeze is going to ever be close to Shawn Michaels, but with the gimmick that he's saddled with, he has potential to turn it into gold.
We'll see. Let's move to the main event. Well, Samoa Joe. Nah, whatever. I don't want to talk about Samoa Joe, Baron Corbin. I don't want to talk about that. I just wish it would have ended to extend the feud a little bit longer.
Yeah, we don't really need to talk about it.
Okay, all right. So, and now ladder match.
Actually, one thing I just want to say about that match. That match went a long way in exposing Baron Corbin for what he is.
Yeah, but you know what? He does better than fucking Roman Reigns.
Yeah, in a sense, but he's going to be like, if they really want to make him another Roman Reigns, they're going to.
No, like, but like his ability isn't going to be like Roman Reigns. If anything, he'll be more like once you think about it, not saying in a technical sense, and maybe that's a bit stressed. Actually, I'm not even going to do it. I was going to say the Undertaker, but more like a Kevin Nash, than anything else. And you know what? That can work for him. He doesn't have to have all the ultimate charisma on the planet. He doesn't have to be this and be that. All he has to be is just a big guy who will hurt you, and not necessarily beat you, but can hurt you. And if he could just maintain that and not try to like be something, I think he'd do just fine. Just be a Kevin Nash type of dude. I don't know. That's the way I see it. Samoa Joe, man, he's a fish out of water. They got to find out something to do with him quick, or again, he's going to be a complete failure on the roster. It's just, if he was only there 6, 7, 8 months earlier, we'd be singing a different tune. But this is what's the word I want to use? This sense of urgency right now needs to be used for the future of Samoa Joe in the WWE. There needs to be a sense of urgency, and
well, there should have already been a sense of urgency when he got signed, because he's 36 years old.
But everyone got hurt and left, or even got called up. You know, like that's it. I mean, wrong timing, like horrible
circumstance.
Main event. I was highly impressed. There's only one thing in that bothered me, and that was the power bomb on the apron being used, and it basically not being a factor. That was the only thing that stood out to me.
How so?
Because the pop-up power bomb on the power bomb on the apron has been taking motherfuckers out for weeks. You know, like Sami Zayn, John Cena. John Cena did the job to the fucking power bomb on the apron for 2 weeks, man. He was out. And now in this match, you get this same move that just takes motherfuckers out to the likes of John Cena. And he just brushes it off and wins and grabs the belt off the top of the ladder. I go, wow, is that dead? Is that no longer going to be like a thing for Kevin Owens, like something that you would be afraid of, you know?
Well, probably not, because according to rumors and what you want to believe, they are not really high on him on the main roster.
I don't believe that for 1 second.
There was reports that came out that said that after he lost to John Cena 2 times in a 3-match feud, that they don't see him as a main event star and someone who could be the future of the company. And gee, I wonder why, because you bring up these guys, and it's happened to multiple people, not just Kevin Owens, but you bring up guys and then you feed them to John Cena. I mean, look at where Bray Wyatt is. Nobody gives a shit about him.
Well, I think that's a whole other can of worms. I think
it is, but it plays into it.
I think Kevin Owens is doing just fine. He's doing just fine. All these talks and rumors about him doing this and that, and people in the back, I think it's all hogwash. I don't believe it for 1 second. He's being put in high-profile situations. And regardless of the John Cena, I put it in the same with Jushin Thunder Liger. You know, like, he doesn't necessarily need to overcome. He's still young, and he's going to have another shot at Cena at some point. He was on the mid-card in a high-profile match where he actually got 1 of 3, and he put up a fight. He was an actual threat. He gets a rub to go back down to NXT and headline an NXT ladder match, and then he defeated cleanly Cesaro at SummerSlam in the pre-main event. You know, it was no. It was the top. Wait a minute. It was after Cena Rollins, right, or before Cena Rollins?
After. You mean which match?
Owens Cesaro.
I think it was directly after, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so he's doing just fine. He's doing just fine. But I just found it weird that he would actually pull that move off, and it didn't affect the match whatsoever. And that's my only peeve about it. Other than that, the small detail things, I love what they did to the ladders. I thought that was awesome. It gave a bit of identity to the match. You know, it's like they weren't just ladders. They actually just had a little touch to them to sort of go along with the theme of them being in Brooklyn. And I was like, I hope they do that more often, you know? Not just a bunch of ladders, but put a little design to them. Produce it a little bit. That was actually pretty cool. But other than that, I don't have any other complaints. I don't have any other complaints. I don't know.
Alrighty.
Well, I mean, you want to talk on it?
Yeah, I thought it was a good match. I really liked what they did with the ladder and how they used everything within the match. I'm really happy that the internet rumor that I read over the weekend ended up not being true.
Okay. Kevin Owens was going to win the NXT belt.
Yeah, they said that Owens was going to win the NXT championship, and when I read that, I'm like, okay, to me, if this is true, that means that they've given up on Kevin Owens. They're going to put him down in NXT, and then they're going to bring Finn Balor up to the main roster and then go full bore with him. Because you know that they are going to invest money, and they already think the guy's great.
But he's going to get Bailey'd right now. He has to stay down there, man. He has to stay down there. Unfortunately,
yeah, he's one of the guys that until they get a fresh crop of talent, that he's gonna have to stay down there.
Yeah, him,
or at least do double duty on both the main roster and NXT.
No.
If you think about it, he hasn't really been down there that much or that long compared to other people.
Who?
Finn Balor.
Finn? I thought he came in. He came in shortly after
Hideo.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Shortly, about a month.
Yeah, but like all these guys right now, like Sami Zayn, like Hideo Itami, there's a bunch of guys in NXT that are injured.
Oh yeah.
So once like Hideo comes back, I think he'll be one of the guys that they build around in NXT, and then Finn Balor might have a chance of coming up. He is going to come back or come up at some point. It's just a matter of when. So it's not like a Bull Dempsey situation where he's never going to come up, or like a Mojo Rawley, like he's never going to come up.
Mm-hmm.
So at least with Finn Balor, you know he's going to come up at some point.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of when they're going to do it.
And I don't see it happening basically maybe for another year.
I'd say 6 months.
I give it 10 to 11.
That might be a stretch, but
day after WrestleMania.
Okay, that would make sense because they like to do big debuts after WrestleMania.
Yeah,
and I could see Finn Balor being one of those debuts. So if they want to hang on to him in NXT until the Raw after WrestleMania, then that's fine because I think his debut on that show would be huge.
And you also have to consider, I think Sami Zayn's injury, his like what he told us that I don't think I'd be back in for another year. It's all a ruse. And if it is next year, come February, he'll be back, and that's the perfect time to bring him in the Royal Rumble. That would be pretty sick. And then the day after WrestleMania, you could bring in Finn Balor, and that would be pretty cool. And then you can you either have right off the bat like a feud with either Cody Rhodes, or you could have a feud with Bray Wyatt. That would be
okay.
I like to think that he could start off with either one of those two in a feud
easily. But like I said, it's just a matter of when they want to bring him up versus what, because they're going to. It's just they need to figure out what they're going to do with him.
And then Samoa Joe. All right, let's move on to Bummer Mania, Bummer Slam. All right, hashtag Bummer Slam. Now, first off, were you getting? I was at Jake's place watching it. were you getting a lot of weird production issues?
Like what?
Like, it'd be a moment where, for instance, there was a part where, what is it? It was during the Cena Rollins match where he did like 3 suicide dives, and one of them, you saw one of them, and then there was this cut into the second one. Like, you didn't see him run back in the ring and run back out. He just went straight at Cena. Like,
so it was almost like the network skipped?
Yes.
Okay, yes, because that was happening. I watched TakeOver at a friend's house on Saturday night, and the network was doing that. And I watched SummerSlam at my house on last night, and the network was doing the same thing. Like, it wasn't as bad as it was for TakeOver, but it was still kind of really annoying.
It was worse.
Or it was like the feed would, like, something would happen and then it would jump back 5 seconds.
Yes.
And then you'd see the same thing. Okay, so the same thing was happening to you?
Well, yeah, because I...
You and Jake?
Well,
okay, because...
Well, for NXT, I didn't watch it live. I was working. So I had to watch it the next day. I watched the upload, and it was very much that. Now, do you remember even that part during the Brock Lesnar Undertaker match where all of a sudden he's in the F5? It's like he's standing there, but then all of a sudden he's up at the F5.
Okay, that didn't happen to me.
Oh, that happened to us.
That's weird. But yeah, like a lot of people on Twitter were complaining about how the network needed to get its shit together because it was a mess. It was horrendous during TakeOver. It wasn't as bad during SummerSlam, but I had to refresh. Like, I got high-speed internet to deal with the network like maybe 4 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, watching anything on the network was a pain in the ass. I did have high-speed internet through... now I have Comcast. Before I had Quest,
mm-hmm.
and Quest high-speed internet sucks. So after you hit a certain amount, then they drop you down and your internet sucks. So I said, screw you guys, I'm going to Comcast. Ever since I got to Comcast, or went to Comcast, I can watch a pay-per-view on the network without any issue, but on Sunday night for SummerSlam, it was the first time I've ever had an issue.
But that wasn't you, bro.
It wasn't me. It was the network.
Yes,
because people were reporting the same exact issues.
Yeah, so I was like, "What the fuck is this? Triple Mania or SummerSlam?"
Yeah. See, I always thought that's harsh.
It is harsh.
But I always think it's me when something like that
You're the
happens.
fucking WWE. You should be held to a higher fucking standard. When every week you gotta fucking beat us down with like $9.99 and fucking cue cards and all of that crap, and you gonna fucking give us a fucking product like this on your second biggest show? Fuck yeah. And
a lot
pissed.
of people were more forgiving because they're like, oh, it's $9.99.
Now fuck that. That's a ruse.
Eric Cannon, who I know personally on Twitter, I know him personally in real life. I follow him on Twitter, and he's like, "Oh, who cares about the issues? We watched 2 shows for $9.99. I think we made out pretty well." It's like, well, yeah, but it's like just because it's $9.99 doesn't excuse all the technical difficulties that they constantly have with this thing.
This isn't something that we manifested. WWE themselves put themselves in a situation where they can be easily criticized. When your slogan to sell the network is like Netflix but only better, give me a fucking break. You mean to tell me I need to fucking pipe down if I'm bitching about a feed because it's $9.99? No. I deserve better because that's their slogan. And they are a multi-billion-dollar company.
Well, plus we all pay them $10 a month.
So fuck that. I think anybody with the fucking gripe should gripe. You know what I'm saying? And you can't let them slide. You know what? Everyone, this should be the prime time to do cancel WWE Network. Not because because your darling doesn't win. How about because you want better fucking service? If Netflix started acting up on you like that, all hell would break loose.
See, and I think the service is great. Like I said, ever since I got Comcast and stuff, like I can go watch any pay-per-view I want Pay-per-views used to take like 5 minutes to load on my effing computer. Now they take like 30 seconds, not even.
No, but I'm just saying.
Well, like the live feeds are still an issue, and I think what it is it's all these idiots who were watching SummerSlam for free last night, and then come September they're just going to drop off.
Then how about this? How about WWE kick out a couple of hundred thousands of dollars and get your server right?
What I think they should do is set up
You see the traffic, dude. You see how many people are going to fucking stream this thing. If you're not prepared for it, then yeah, you're going to have problems. I think they got complacent. I think
what they need to do, like especially for the free months, designate a server that they can put all these free people on.
Yes.
That way it doesn't screw up all like the service for the people that actually pay for it every month.
Now,
because I'm sorry, the people that
it's
get
not
it
as
for free
easy.
Every month
it's a good theory.
Assholes.
It's a good theory. It's a great theory.
But I know it's not as easy, but it's like I'm trying. WWE should do away with all these free trials because it just screws it up for everybody else. The people that are paying for it versus the people that will create different email addresses or have like 4 or 5 credit cards so they can get a different free account every freaking month, and it makes me mad.
Well, it's their fault. I mean, they are a multi-billion-dollar company, right? And they should have people in place because they forget sometimes that they're just a wrestling promotion, right? They forget. But then they try to convince us that they're Forbes, you know what I'm saying? That they're something, they're Ralph Lauren or they're fucking HBO, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, you are a wrestling promotion. Now, if you get actual people that knew what the fuck they were doing in there and start calling some shots rather than some dude who used to fucking put people in headlocks, then you know what? Things would probably run a little bit smoother. I sound so worked up right now.
So do I, though, probably.
But check this out. Front to back, I don't think I've seen as bad of a pay-per-view since Elimination Chamber. And then before then, even like Capital Punishment or some shit like that, they somehow worked themselves out in terms of storyline and finishes and shit. A double count out, man. A double count out, bro.
Yeah.
A missed call, which leads to a low blow, a missed tap out. You got fucking what?
See, I wonder. Okay, that you're talking about the Undertaker Brock finish,
and I'm talking about the Rusev Ziggler finish.
Okay, the Rusev Ziggler finish I will forgive because they are doing whatever they can to get Lana and Summer Rae involved, and it's going to be awful, and we know it's continuing, and we don't want it to. Whatever, I will forgive that.
Then end in DQ.
Huh?
End in DQ. Don't make it a stalemate. Yeah. That's ridiculous.
Well, it's their way of continuing the story, and yeah, it's a lazy way to do it, but that's the only way they know how to do it because they're so one-dimensional with their booking and their creativity. But the Undertaker Brock Lesnar match, I said this last night on Twitter. I don't know what it was, like if this false finish of that guy, the timekeeper, ringing the bell prematurely was planned or not.
It's totally planned because
it probably was. But whoever booked that finish should be fired because it completely killed the actual finish.
It killed the night. It killed the atmosphere in the room because it's not like people got mad. It's one thing to have a dusty finish, right? It's one thing to have a fucking dusty finish where people are just like riled up and like, no, continue, restart the match, type shit like that, and just kind of leave and like just mad. People left deflated. Like, but you mean to tell me like we sat through a couple of weeks, 5-6 weeks of them building this up, the match too big for fucking SummerSlam. I'm thinking, okay,
you mean WrestleMania?
WrestleMania, okay,
which doesn't make any sense because that tagline doesn't make a lick of sense because WrestleMania is supposed to be your biggest show of the year.
I still don't understand why they I mean, it was in a Heyman promo, but then it was just like they ran with it. I was like, I still don't really get what you're saying by saying that. I don't get it. It's like it's a non-statement. A match.
It means the match shouldn't have happened. That's what I took it as.
A match too big for WrestleMania. I just go, whatever, dude.
Because
it makes
I remember
no sense.
tweeting about it when he first said it. It's like, okay, a match too big for WrestleMania. Well, WrestleMania is your biggest show of the year, so what are you hinting at?
I don't know. I don't know. I think it was just a marketing thing that just went sour.
It was a bad marketing move, though.
I'm surprised they didn't call it like epic. But anyway, check this out. People left deflated, and we were on this kick because I'm not going to front. It was an awesome match. Great match.
Yeah, way better than their WrestleMania 30 match.
You know, Song's concussion, I think this is the match that should have happened. But
yeah.
Everything just went wild. And it was planned because Robinson was on the other side. He placed himself on the other side to check Lesnar's shoulders and not focusing on the actual submission hand, right, of the Undertaker. Now, that was all planned. That was all a ruse. And I go, Dusty finish? What?
No.
Excuse me?
So finish.
Huh? Said it again.
Vince Russo finish. Because it didn't make any sense.
Yeah. So, yeah, and then the low blow, which I was thinking, okay, he's not going to be able to get the low blow in, so he's not going to win the match. Sure enough, he was in a situation where, because I saw it coming, like I'm gonna upload my reaction video. I think after I finish this and get this up, I'm going to upload first the reaction, me and Jake's reaction to the Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar match. And I sat there and go, oh no, low blow, watch for it, low blow, boom, there it is, it right in the ding ding, and and when he choked him out, I wasn't mad that he choked him out. I'm just mad the decision that they took to make that happen, and not necessarily something where it would like stand up, like, you know, okay, Brock got a clean victory over you. You get a clean if you're gonna go that route, because I had a whole other theory this was gonna be the last time we saw fucking Undertaker. I was so wrong, foot in my mouth. But like, god damn it, you
yep. And guess what happens now?
WrestleMania, bro. We got to deal with this for the next fucking 9 months.
See, and I don't know. Like, I was thinking logically in my head, WrestleMania. But they have this thing on October 4th, and it is a house show from Madison Square Garden.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
On the network. Do it there, and call it Taker Lesnar 3, because that's what it is, and then get it over with. I do not want to see this match at WrestleMania. Well, I don't mind seeing it a third time, just do not do it at WrestleMania.
But you know what that means, though? If
what?
They do, like, let's just say your fantasy booking goes into play. You know what that means?
Sting, either Taker loses and retires?
No, Sting Undertaker at WrestleMania 31, 32? What is it?
32.
32. It'd be Sting Undertaker.
That's okay then.
And that's going to be the curtain call of all curtain calls.
If that's your end game, if that's what you have to do to get to that match, do it.
Okay.
Or do Taker Lesnar 3 at Royal Rumble. But I don't know if Taker would be able to do 2 matches within 3 months of each other.
You think? Now, let's talk about Jon Stewart's heel turn.
Ugh.
That almost botched, by the way. I was like, because he turned to Cena, and then he turned back to Rollins. I was like, what are you doing? I was like, where the fuck is Bobby the Brain Heenan when you need him?
Yeah.
I was like, whose side is he on? What do you mean, whose side is he on? It's like what the fuck? Was that necessary? And where do you see this going?
Well, they had that whole Jon Stewart, Seth Rollins thing on the Daily Show like a year ago. They finally capitalized it, and they did it in such a bad way that I didn't really care about it. And I remember saying to somebody that on Twitter last night during the show that, oh, Jon Stewart's involvement in SummerSlam actually wasn't that bad. And then they go and they do that. And I'm like, okay, what's the point of that? But, okay.
Okay, Vince Russo Part 2, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. That's what ran through my head.
Well, Part 1.
Yeah, this show, like I said earlier, this show was good, but it had a lot of illogical booking errors and mistakes. And they were simple.
Bad wrestling. Horrible. Man, if it wasn't for Seth Rollins just being the G that he is, right? Because he's a total fucking G in the ring. John Cena, that was... I mean, I can sit back and say I'm not the biggest John Cena fan. But I'm not going to be someone who's going to be riding the whole U.S. I haven't been riding that U.S. challenge dick for, I never rode it. I was like, whoever was in the ring with him was why that match was great. But you take all of those matches and then it results in this performance. It was a shitty John Cena performance. That tag team performance, the triple threat tag team performance was shitty. That Divas match was shitty. It was shitty. The only match that really stood out that actually had any kind of weight was the Brock Lesnar Undertaker match, the Cesaro Owens match, and I think until the screwy double count out, that Rusev and Dolph Ziggler match was not half bad.
Yeah. Like I said, okay. You said the wrestling was bad.
Bad.
And I agree to some extent. Like, some of the wrestling was really, really bad. And in some of the matches where the wrestling was really, really good, it was ruined by a terrible finish. Ugh. And I'm looking at Undertaker Lesnar, and I'm looking at Rollins Cena. Because Rollins Cena was a good match. They did have some miscues and stuff like that, but I thought overall the match was pretty good. But it was just the finish just killed it.
The only match that didn't have a stupid finish?
The Divas match.
No. That was Becky Lynch.
That match is horrendous.
Okay, so Becky Lynch gets the pin. Hint, hint. My theory. Just keep an eye on her, okay? The Orton-Sheamus match.
Yeah.
Yeah, it ended. I think a lot of people were upset that Randy Orton lost, or that now we're about to get a Sheamus push.
That RKO is cool.
It was.
By the way, Sheamus is cashing in Money in the Bank tonight, guarantee it.
Look at you. Mr. Bold Prediction, Mr. fucking Joe Namath.
It's just a hunch that I have, because WrestleMania, the post-WrestleMania Raw is always huge, and this is the post-SummerSlam Raw. They want to pass it off as something huge, and what a way to do it than to have a cash-in on this show. I don't know if it should be a successful cash-in, because I don't want to see him with the belt, but you might as well end Seth Rollins' reign right now, because it's awful. I love Seth Rollins to death, don't get me wrong. He's a great wrestler. He's one of my favorite wrestlers on the roster. But his title reign has been garbage. And last night when he wrestled Cena, he needed a clean win, and he didn't get that. And
every title defense has been screwed.
It's like, I understand being a weasel heel, but there's a difference between being a weasel heel and not being able to win a match in a credible way, and Seth Rollins he's past that line of being able to do that.
Yeah.
Because you can still be a chicken shit heel and win a match in an effective way. And every title defense that Seth Rollins has been in has had something stupid happen during the finish.
Hell, even before he was champion. Remember when Bray Wyatt came up from under the fucking cage? This guy, he
I'm talking about Rollins though.
I know Rollins. I mean, do you remember
Oh yeah, you're right. That
Hell in a Cell.
that Hell in a Cell match. I completely forgot about that. Great match until that happened.
Yeah. So that, I mean, it's not like he's always had the. I mean, it's only happened with the belt. It's happened without the belt as well. So, okay. What else was left? I mean, we got 10 matches. Did we leave anything out?
Did we talk about that Divas match yet?
I don't really want to talk about it.
I don't either, but I just want to say that it was. If you're touting a Divas Revolution, the Divas Revolution died last night. That match was garbage. And you need to reevaluate what you're doing with this Divas Revolution. The only way you can fix it, in my opinion, I said this last night on Twitter, someone needs to beat Nikki Bella for the title.
Not happening.
And she needs to beat AJ Lee's record first.
No, she needs to destroy that record.
And then whoever beats her record needs to take that stupid belt, hold it in their hands, grab a microphone, and Shane Douglas that thing. Meaning, throw it down and then reveal a new belt and proclaim it the Women's Championship. Because the Divas title is a joke. The Divas division after last night is a complete joke. The only thing that's going to save it is dropping the term diva.
All I'm saying is this, bro. Nikki Bella is not dropping that belt until WrestleMania. I'm just putting it out there. And it's going to be in a screwy four-way match. And it seems that, again, it's going to be Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch is going to be the heel with that. And she's going to screw over Charlotte Flair or either Sasha Banks, whoever everyone thinks should win the belt. And they're going to be all chummy, like, yeah, we're in this together. We got to take down the Bellas. And then,
I don't care who.
And then, like, at SummerSlam, like, really screw over one of the two or even both of them. And then just take the belt off of, like, Brie Bella by force. Just probably fucking rock Mankind, like, surrender match, like, just beat her in the head like 50 billion times with a chair. And then just walk away with the belt as, like, the hottest fucking heel on the roster. I'm telling you, I feel like she's Seth Rollins in female form. But before that, like, I'm just putting it out there. They're not just going to beat that fucking. It's not going to be like the day after she beats AJ Lee. It's going to be months down the line. We're talking months down the line until she drops that belt. Because
I think they should keep it on her until Survivor Series. Let her pass the year mark. I don't think having her keep it till WrestleMania is going to do any good.
Oh, I think it's going to do great for Vince.
It's going to be great for Vince because then he can rub it in AJ Lee's face and tell CM Punk to go screw himself.
That's all it is. This is all pride.
And that's all it is. But to get her name out of the record book, but I just think it's bad. Oh my god, I just had the weirdest thought.
You just don't want anyone to get close to that fucking record.
Okay, check this out. What if Nikki Bella not only breaks AJ Lee's record, but ends up holding the title for 435 days?
A CM Punk, huh?
Yeah.
See?
I mean, it wouldn't matter because CM Punk would still have his record, but that would be like a double FU to the both of them.
You know what? Great. And then whoever the fuck gets that belt after Nikki Bella, they better stay in their lane. Because, again, it would be a blessing upon all blessings to be able to hold a belt for that long. I mean, it's an inhuman amount of time for someone to not even sniff holding a title reign for that long, and they're not chosen or became insubordinate. All I'm saying, you know Vince. We all know Vince. He is a spiteful man, and
today he's 70 years old.
Oh, today is his birthday?
Yeah, he just turned 70 today.
And it's Reggie Miller's birthday today. He's 51.
Nice.
51. Reggie Miller. Go Pacers.
He's a legend.
And I think the last thing I want to speak on before we get the fuck out of here, because I got to get out of here. I'm so happy that New Day got the belt back. That was so. I was so happy. The
celebration dance was the best.
It's so. The sad part about that celebration dance, and it's the elephant in the room, and it can be offensive if you are of color. It can offend you. Oh, per se, black. That dance that they do is only a reflection of that African child dance meme.
That's what it was?
That's what they're doing.
Okay, because I had seen that pop up on Twitter, and I didn't really think much of it, but that's hilarious.
It's basically, it is what it is, because if you look at what they're doing right now, as a faction, like, their comment stick is, like, basically taking pop culture references, maybe viral references and stuff, and incorporate it into who they are, like the dunk on somebody. I wouldn't be surprised this Monday, tonight, they walk up to somebody and point at their shoes and go, "What are those?" I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
You know that meme? I mean, well, that viral video of the guy yelling at the cop? Like,
I never saw it, no.
But you know about it, right?
I know about it, but I've never seen the actual video.
Yeah, it's just a simple. It's this guy in a car, and he's talking to a cop, and he goes, "Hey, excuse me, sir, can I ask you a question?" And he zooms in on his shoes. He's like, "What are those?" It's just random. Yeah. It's random. That's the only thing about it that it's funny. It's just so fucking random. And I feel like Kofi and Xavier Wood and fucking and Biggie Langston are going to pull that on someone tonight. If not tonight, they're going to pull it off soon. But them doing that dance is it is that, and it's sad. It's sad as fuck to be so entertained by it, because in itself is so offensive. Because anybody I see post that fucking meme, I just want to punch my screen through. I want to unfriend them. I want to get on. I want to send them a private message and it's like, shout at them for being a fucking, stop doing that. Like, that's not cool.
Yeah.
But then they pull this shit off, and I'm like, man, this is so great. So it just makes me uneasy all around. But god damn it, they're so entertaining. It's
yeah.
And for them to have that belt, man, me and Jake, we were just high-fiving each other, that motherfucker, man. We were like, fuck yeah.
I'm glad that they have the belts again, because it opens up a lot of possibilities. I mean, when they had the belts the last time, they didn't do the Freebird rule. I'd really like to see that between them now. But it kind of like, with the primetime players, they got the belts, and I thought it was awesome because they deserved it. But in the end of the day, or at the end of the day, their reign really won't mean nothing, because it wasn't long enough.
Because fuck them? Yeah.
Yeah, like pretty much.
Yeah, because fuck them.
And that's what Vince said last night.
And now, what they need to do now is stop fucking around, and if they don't fucking screw this up, because if anything, let's talk about them holding the belts for quite some time, right?
They need to hold it for at least 6 months, because I'm sick and tired of a new team winning the titles every 2 weeks.
I say hold that fucker longer than that. Take the belt, hold the belt, let them keep the belt. It's not like the tag team division is like bursting with, like championship teams. I guess until we wait for the Usos to show up. But check this out, right?
So other Uso can get off commentary. That's fine with me.
But check this out, right? How about they pull the trigger? Oh man, I hope my fucking computer's it's acting screwy. Well, anyway, they pull the trigger and give Kofi Kingston the fucking Money in the Bank ladder match win. Give him the Money in the Bank. That'll be icing on the cake in terms of like possibilities.
They should have done that last year.
I know, right? They dropped the ball.
Yeah, they totally did. And then they could have done that last year, and it's like this year they almost should do it. If next year when it comes around, they almost should do it, because it would be unexpected. Or
make it to where if the New Day drops the belt at, say, Money in the Bank, and in exchange, give Kofi the briefcase. That's the only way I could see it. I think that would be so awesome.
Well, he was really close to getting it last year. Nobody wanted to see or not last year. I'm totally screwed up, but nobody wanted to see him win it, or wanted to see Sheamus win it in July when he did, or June, whenever that pay-per-view was. No one wanted to see Sheamus win it, and everybody was cheering on Kofi. And he did great in that match. I think they should reward him next year by having him win the Money in the Bank.
Again,
if the New Day is still a thing.
Yep, if it's still a thing. And you know what? I would be okay if they did drop the belts to the Usos and gave Kofi the rub for the Money in the Bank. And then, and the thing about the Money in the Bank, and we'll go back to Sheamus, it's like, you said you see him cashing in tonight. And I go, like, no. Like, right now, he's so far away from me. Like, as I see it for what it is and what just happened with Jon Stewart and John Cena and all that shit, he is so far from cashing it in now.
And see, like, WWE, what you just said, he's so far from cashing it in. WWE has their own logic, and it's called WWE logic. And so when he does cash in tonight, because I'm telling you it's going to happen.
All right, bro.
If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, so be it. I'm not going to place bets or anything, but if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I see him cashing in tonight, and it's not going to make any sense. But what I don't like about that is Seth Rollins cashed in to win the title at WrestleMania. I think it's kind of weird to have a guy who cashed in to win the title lose the title to a cash in. So with that whole caveat added to it, I don't want it to happen. I just have an inclination that it's going to. Because tonight's the post SummerSlam Raw from the Barclays Center. They want to make this as big as possible. They want to treat it like a post WrestleMania Raw, and I think that's what they're going to do.
One will only see. Again, I don't know, because I'm not trying to diss what you're saying in terms of like WWE,
no, I understand that
WWE logic, because I always feel comfortable.
Devil's advocate.
But I always feel comfortable dissing your logic. I'm just saying I want to hold back.
Yeah,
right here.
I'm not saying
because you're not far-fetched.
Yeah, I'm not saying I want this to happen. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate and say, like, this is what's going to happen because it's WWE's way of doing things.
I just feel like the storyline, the twist that the storyline is taken now is beyond anything that Sheamus could ever be involved in. You know?
Well, and plus he doesn't have substance right now.
Yeah.
And that's a huge thing.
Yeah, and John Cena is going to want his rematch. Definitely. He's going to want his revenge on Jon Stewart. So it just doesn't leave room to actually put
I don't think John Cena's going to get a rematch. I think tonight he's going to say that he wants back into the WWE title picture, and then we're right back where we were before he started chasing the U.S. belt.
But here's the thing, brother. It's not that he wants his USA belt back. It was belt for belt. So the stipulation will come back to being a joint belt defense.
Okay.
That's where I see it. Now, Sheamus cannot
question
cash in.
On that note,
he can't cash in on Seth Rollins. He just can't. He's better off cashing on Cena because, okay, that's the babyface with the belt. And it would just come off as odd. And I understand that the new theory of no baby faces, no bad guys, no good guys, bad guys. We're just guys fighting, which is still dumb. They still hold true to babyface versus heel theory. But it would be too much if he was to cash in on Seth. I mean, it would be pushing that envelope too much. It's one thing to see it's one thing to see Dolph Ziggler, because that was a double turn, and I don't think it was a suspected double turn when Dolph Ziggler cashed in on Alberto Del Rio. He was a bona fide heel. That was a heel faction. And he ran out day after WrestleMania and cashed in on Alberto Del Rio. The place went fucking nuts, subsequently becoming a babyface. That's another story. This? No. I just, unless it would be Seth Rollins turning babyface, but he's so far removed from that, being that he had some dude come in and fucking attack John Cena with a fucking chair, and he comes out as the weaselly fucking heel again. So I just don't see. I understand your logic. I do. I just see it. It's so far beyond Sheamus' involvement, and say until John Cena gets the belt back. That's all.
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Well, and like I'm saying, I'm not trying to like. This isn't like necessarily what I'm thinking. I'm trying to play devil's advocate and think of what WWE is thinking. It's like that whole. You listened to the CM Punk podcast with Cabana a while back, didn't you?
Yeah.
It's like the whole, no, you don't want this, you want Sheamus.
Mm-hmm.
When he had that conversation. It's like, that's what this kind of reminds me of. It's like, if Seth Rollins loses the title tonight via cash-in by Sheamus, it's like, no, you don't want Seth Rollins as your champion, you want Sheamus.
No, they're high on Seth, though. They're high on Seth. And that's the only thing that I see different. But let's go ahead. Go ahead.
I just want to ask you quick, do you, with the unification of the titles last night, the U.S. title, the world title, do you see them drop, or do you see Seth keeping the U.S. title, or do you see him dropping the U.S. title, then putting it up in a tournament, or do you see them getting rid of the U.S. title?
First and foremost, eat your heart out, ROH.
Yeah, pretty much.
What's his name? Jay Lethal? Yeah. Eat your heart out, Jay Lethal. I wouldn't be surprised if he'll do just that. He'll defend the U.S. belt at some cases, and he'll defend the World Heavyweight Championship at some case. So
you think they're going to do you think they're going to completely rip off Ring of Honor with that?
Hey, dude, you brought it up. This is you, all right? And I
know it's me, but I'm just saying, like,
I'm only backing you up right now, dude. I'm patting you on the back right now, like you're the fucking man right now. So I'm gonna keep.
Why?
Going.
Because I was right.
Hey, now pump your brakes. I'm being comedic right now, all right? So deflate a little bit there, fucking Mojin Boo.
What did you just call me?
Anyone who's listening and watches Dragon Ball Z would get that
I
reference.
don't know what that is.
Exactly. So shut up. So I'm gonna pat you on the back and say, you know what? It's going to be a Jay Lethal reign.
I told you.
Type reign, and he's going to actually drop the strap to someone, not today, and not any time down the line when it's convenient, and it's going to be perpetuated as it's going to be like a non-title match, because you know what? I'm still the WWE champ. It's like when he tapped out to Cena in that non-title match, he's still the champ, right? So if he drops the U.S. strap to say a Neville, to say who would be in line? Let's just say all of a sudden Damian Sandow shows back up, right? And he wants a title shot, right? And he takes it off of him. I'm still the WWE champion. Now it wouldn't be a shitting. It wouldn't be a crapping on the U.S. belt per se. It wouldn't be. It would just go back to its regular form.
See, and I have an issue with that, because if, like I said, I think I mentioned this to you with Jay Lethal in Ring of Honor. If you take because right now he's defending both belts, the TV and the world title. If you take
he's defending against Hansen, right?
The TV title from Jay Lethal, he can't be pinned for it. He has to lose it in a triple threat, and that's the same thing, or without getting pinned. That's the same theory I have for Seth Rollins if they're going to go the same route.
I say pin him.
No, because then you're going to make your WWE champion look like shit.
No, but he's still... he doesn't already look like shit?
Well, he already... If you're talking about Jay Lethal, no. But if you're talking about...
No, I'm talking about Seth Rollins.
He does look like shit because he can't win a match legitimately. But I don't think having him get pinned to lose the U.S. title will do him any favors as the WWE champion.
I say he loses it to Neville. No, wait. Oh, how about this, brother? And then we'll close out because.
All right.
Randy Orton.
He loses the U.S. title to Randy Orton?
Yes.
That would be really, really weird.
Randy Orton is the only person in the company that has Seth Rollins' number. Only person, right?
You know, now that I think about it, that might work.
It could still
in WWE's favor because the U.S. title is the only title that Randy Orton has not held.
It would be a triple threat. He triple crown.
He would be a Grand Slam.
That's what I'm saying. Grand Slam.
He's been a tag team. He's been an Intercontinental. He's been
World. He's been
World.
WWE. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
he's been WWE. Technically, he's already a Grand Slam champion. But if he wins the U.S. title, then he's won every single title minus the Divas title because he can't win that because he's not a female.
And he's one of two other people: Chris Jericho and The Miz.
The Miz is one of those guys.
Yeah, he's a what do you call it? Grand Slam. He's a Grand Slam guy.
That's disgusting.
Yep. Ain't it awesome? So
I want to puke.
So to just follow up. So not only does he lose to Randy Orton, he lost to Randy Orton. It's okay, right? That's a person that could pin him, right? That's fine. He's pinned him before. And it goes on a guy that still makes the belt relevant.
Okay.
I'm just saying, problem solved.
Say that again, because I didn't catch all of that.
So what? Your gripe was, okay, this person cannot be pinned. Like Seth Rollins can't be pinned to drop the U.S. belt.
Correct.
But he's being pinned by Randy Orton, a 13-time World Heavyweight Champion. And a guy who basically has his number every fucking time. He should have beat him a week ago.
Okay. He's the only guy that could work.
Okay, that's what I
could do that with.
That's what I'm saying.
It could make sense,
and
then I would be fine with it.
And then it goes from Cena, it goes to Randy Orton, a guy who's relevant. Now, to do the U.S. Open Challenge, and I think you explained it to me. Was it you or was it? I think it was Jake that explained. It's like, well, it's not his character to do a challenge because he's the Viper. He strikes. He's not someone who's waiting to get struck. You know, so. Maybe they try it. I don't know. I mean, it becomes whatever afterwards. But I'm just saying to resolve the fact that he could actually drop the strap in defense of the U.S. belt and still be a legitimate world champion. I think Randy Orton is the only person I think that could actually pull it off, and people will be like, "Well, it is Randy Orton," and it's not going. That U.S. belt is not just going to go into obscurity now.
See, I don't know if they want to. It depends where they want to go. If they want to have Randy Orton win the title off of Seth Rollins, that's perfectly okay with me. But something tells me that they're going to just get rid of that belt.
No, they're not.
Kind of like when they took
wishful thinking
after TLC with the title unification match. They got rid of the World Heavyweight title. I think that's what they're planning on doing, because with the roster the way it is, I've said this a long time, or for a while, you don't need 2 mid-card titles. Now, I mean, it's nice because it gives guys something more to fight over, but the roster's already as thin as it is, so you don't need 2 mid-card titles.
How about this? You've seen the show, right? You watch the show, and they shoot the crowd. What is the belt you see the most in the crowd nowadays?
The WWE title.
I see more U.S.
Or the old world title.
I see more U.S. titles, man. I see kids with that title. I see grown men with that title. I actually, you know what's funny? Since John Cena won it, I don't think I've ever seen anyone show up to a live event or, airing of it, whether it's SmackDown or whether it's Raw. that had the U.S. belt. Since Cena had it, you looking at crowd, you can probably see it tonight. You'll probably see way more U.S. belts around the shoulders of the fans than any other belt in the company right now. So I would say the idea of them getting rid of the belt and it's selling really well right now would be them shooting themselves in the foot. We got belts to sell, baby. We ain't got time to bullshit.
They've already got enough in Cena merch, though, so I don't really think they need...
If it ends up on Randy Orton, it'll probably take a dip, but not as much of a dip. And that belt would not go into obscurity. Why work so hard to make that belt so legitimate? Like, what Intercontinental belt, right? Compared to the U.S. belt and how it's been handled. Now, okay.
Well, then get rid of the Intercontinental belt and then keep the U.S. title.
No one suspected that fucking Daniel Bryan was going to get have his head almost explode, right?
Yeah, and then the U.S. title is... not the U.S. title, the Intercontinental title is garbage right now.
Well, it was supposed to be on Daniel Bryan.
Well, I know, but we all know what happened there, so now it's on Ryback, and no one cares about him.
Well, I wish The Miz would have won that fucking belt.
Gross.
I really wish that Miz would have won it.
Then I wouldn't care about it even more, because that guy sucks.
Oh, man, I hated the way Ryback won that, too. That was stupid, too. That was stupid. How can you steal the win on your own fucking belt? Right?
You mean the match last night?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He stole a victory for his own belt. I was like, that is dumb.
Heels do that all the time, but it was really... Yeah. I understand that. You know, speaking of trying to steal a win, did you see last night in that tag match or that 8-person tag match, you could tag in anybody?
Mm-hmm.
So one new Day member tried to tag in the other new Day member and pin each other.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was awesome.
That was awesome.
I loved it.
That was the spot of the night. He was going to pin his own.
I loved it. I thought it was brilliant.
That was so brilliant because it caught me and Jake. I was like, what? Oh. And then they explained it. It was like, oh, okay. That's what's up. But, yo, let's go ahead and wrap this fucker up, man.
Alrighty.
Plugs.
I am, of course, Nathan. You can follow me on Twitter at Headliner5. I'm with Eyes on the Ring, which you can visit at www.eyesonthering.com. I just did a full 10-page review of my thoughts on NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, so go over there and read that. I also reviewed this past Saturday's Ring of Honor show that aired on Sinclair Broadcast Group, so read that as well. Follow Eyes on the Ring at Eyes on the Ring. What else is there that I want to mention? Oh, I apologize. I think I mentioned this maybe off air. But Blog Talk Radio was being a pain in the ass last night, so Eyes on the Ring did not go live. Blog Talk Radio screwed over the Elite Podcast Network 3 times in 1 week. We weren't able to do 3 different shows, so now we are looking for a different avenue to do podcasts because this is getting ridiculous. But that's pretty much all I have to say. I'm trying to think if there's anything else, but I don't think there is.
Okay.
Oh, like us or like Eyes on the Ring on Facebook. If you go to facebook.com/Eyes on the Ring, hit the like button and all that good stuff.
Yeah, and Headliner 5, the number 5, Headliner 5.
Correct.
On Twitter.
On Twitter.
And also, go back if you're listening. Thank you so much for listening to the Peter Talks thingies. Whether it's Peter Talks SmackDown, whether it's Peter Talk Wrestling with Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling, go back a video if you're listening on YouTube and check out me and Jake's post WrestleMania. It's basically like I keep calling it WrestleMania SummerSlam recap.
By the way,
we should
sorry
a promo.
To cut you off,
go for
but
it.
I just want to give a quick shout out to Kata.
Kata,
she is doing really well, and I'm glad to have her on the team with PJTW Central.
Yeah, she's the valet, and you're the jobber. Yes.
I heard that, and I was like, that's why I tweeted you.
It was the low blow. I'm like the Undertaker over here. And yeah, shout out to Keita. You're awesome. We love you. Me and Jake are actually going to have to. We're going to fight a Hell in a Cell match to win your heart. He's going to be.
This podcast just got weird.
And he's going to be Mankind, and I'm going to be the Undertaker.
So Jake's going to die.
And also, yeah, if you like to and you're curious about more PJTW Central stuff, just go to either SoundCloud, Tumblr, Stitcher, all that shit. It's the archives. Go check it out. And we just celebrated our 1-year anniversary last week. 52 weeks of Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling. Go check that out. It's pretty funny. And then PJTW on Twitter and PJTWCentral.com. And we hope you enjoyed this podcast. Again, share, like, subscribe, comment, everything you can possibly do so we can get more people to listen to us talk wrestling and joke on each other. So, without further ado, you got any last words?
No, just looking forward to Raw and seeing what happens, and that's about it.
My last thing I want to say is look out for those foreign objects. Everyone enjoy Raw tonight. Peace.
See ya.